If you're thinking about getting a submersible water pump, you've probably already noticed that the numbers printed on the box can be a little misleading. That headline flow rate everyone brags about is measured at zero resistance, with the water going nowhere but straight up out of the pump. The moment you add height, hose length, or a bit of mud, the real performance shows up, and that's exactly what separates a pump that quietly saves your weekend from one that just sits there humming in a puddle. So today, we're breaking down the 7 best submersible pumps you can actually get in Europe right now, from gentle pond drainers to absolute brute force machines. And by the end, you'll know precisely which one fits your situation. All the links are waiting for you down in the description, so let's dive in. First up is the Black & Decker BXUP 750PTE, and this one is the great all-rounder of the group. It runs on a 750-watt motor, pushes up to 13,000 liters per hour, and lifts water as high as 8 meters. The clever part is the set of folding feet on the base. Keep them closed and it works in clean water mode, drawing a floor down to just 5 millimeters of residual water, which is fantastic. Pop them open and the intake expands to swallow dirty water with solids up to 30 millimeters across. Picture a stormy night where your basement garage fills with muddy water, leaves, and bits of debris. You open the feet, drop it in, and it clears the mess fast, swallowing leaves and sludge without complaint. Then a week later, you fold the feet back and use that same pump to polish off the last few millimeters in a freshly drained pool. One gentle note: it ships with a 90-degree outlet elbow that slightly restricts flow, so if you want those full numbers, swap in a wide flat discharge hose and you're golden. 2 pumps in one body, and honestly, that's hard to beat. If the Black & Decker is about flexibility, the Einhell GC-DP7835 is about pure muscle. This is a dedicated dirty water workhorse with a 780-watt motor that moves a massive 15,700 liters per hour, and its expanded chamber happily passes solids up to 35 millimeters, roughly the size of a walnut. A stainless steel shaft keeps it tough against sand and grit over long jobs. It's the machine you want for a flooded ditch, a septic pit, or a yard buried in muddy runoff after a heavy storm, where branches, leaves, and gravel would jam a smaller pump in seconds. Drop it into the worst of it and it just keeps chewing through hour after hour without missing a beat. Here's the one thing worth knowing, said kindly. That headline flow drops as you pump higher, so at 2 meters you get around 12,000 liters per hour, and by 6 meters it's closer to 4,500. It still works beautifully, you just plan around the real curve rather than the box, and once you do, it's an absolute tank. Now for something that proves efficiency can beat raw force. The Gardena 9000 Dirt sips just 300 watts yet still moves up to 9,000 liters per hour of murky water, with a 6-meter lift and a fiberglass reinforced impeller. Because it draws so little power, you can run it off a small solar setup, a portable generator, or a battery bank without tripping anything, which makes it the dream pick for off-grid gardens and ponds. Imagine a remote allotment with no mains power, just a couple of solar panels and a rain tank. This little pump will happily keep your fish pond oxygenated and topped up all day long, sip gently from the battery, and never once make you wince at an electricity bill. Compared to the Einhell, it won't bully through deep pits or heavy debris, and it tops out gently at 6 meters, but for quiet everyday duty, it's wonderfully economical. Gardena even backs it with up to a 5-year warranty, and the quick coupling click system makes attaching hoses almost too easy. Stepping firmly into semi-pro territory, we have the Vevor Q SB-2JH, and this thing is a beast. In its stronger versions, it draws between 1100 and 1300 watts, roughly 1.5 to 1 3/4 horsepower, and it can shove out an enormous 20,000 liters per hour. The whole core is sealed inside machined stainless steel with an IPX8 immersion rating, and the all-copper motor lets it run long sessions without overheating. Best of all, it lifts water up to 11 meters, so it can pull from a deep 3-level garage or a flooded riverbank when everything else gives up. This is serious disaster mitigation gear, the kind of pump that drains a construction foundation or an emptying pool while you stroll off to grab a coffee. The trade-off is simply size and weight, so it won't fit narrow drains, and you'll always want to lift it by a rope on the handle rather than the power cable. If the Gardena is the gentle marathon runner, the Vevor is the heavyweight champion that simply refuses to quit. That contrast leads nicely to the Kercher SP 9.500 Dirt, which takes a completely different path to greatness: longevity. It uses a tiny 280-watt motor, yet still moves around 9,500 liters per hour, and the star feature is its ceramic mechanical seal. Most budget pumps eventually die when fine sand grinds away their rubber shaft seal and water creeps into the motor, but ceramic is so hard it basically shrugs that off, protecting your investment for years. It runs whisper quiet, which is lovely for long overnight draining when you'd rather not hear a thing. The only point to keep in mind, said gently, is that it handles particles up to 20 millimeters rather than the 35 of the heavy hitters, so it loves muddy and sandy water but prefers you keep big twigs and gravel out. Kärcher even sells a clip-on pre-filter to handle exactly that, and a smart self-purging design clears trapped air in seconds so you never have to babysit it. For folks who just want a reliable safety net without spending much, the Gouda 94630G S4002P is the sensible insurance policy. A 400-watt motor moves 7,500 liters per hour, and despite weighing just 3.3 kilograms, it still passes solids up to 35 millimeters thanks to a tough Nouril impeller that absorbs impacts instead of shattering on a stray stone. It's light enough to handle one-handed, which makes it ideal to keep on a shelf for the occasional flooded cellar, an overflowing roof drain, or a deflating summer pool that's seen better days. Compared to the deco we're about to meet, the Gouda leans more toward grabbing chunky debris than fine drainage, since it leaves a bit more water behind. Just know its 5-meter ceiling is a theoretical max, so keep the lifts short and it'll reward you happily for years. Rounding out the list is the Deco BL400, another wallet-friendly favorite that punches well above its weight. It runs 400 watts, moves 8,000 liters per hour, and pairs an all-copper winding with an 8-blade impeller for steady, durable flow, plus thermal protection that shuts it down before it ever overheats. It comes with several hose-size fittings, including standard pool hoses, so it's brilliant for draining hot tubs, with some folks emptying a jacuzzi in as little as 8 minutes. Here's the one quirk, and it's an easy fix. If the motor hums but the water just ripples, that's an airlock, not a fault. Tip the pump at a slight angle as you lower it in, let the trapped air burp its way out, and it grabs the water instantly, no drama at all. Once you know that little trick, it primes first time, every time. Compared to the Gouda, the Deco gives you slightly more flow and that copper motor, while the Gouda wins on featherweight portability, so it really comes down to your style. So which one belongs in your shed? If you want maximum versatility for both clean and dirty water in one machine, the Black & Decker is your hybrid hero. If you're moving enormous volumes from deep pits and brutal job sites, the Vevor is unstoppable raw power, with the Einhell as the rugged choice for the dirtiest, most debris-filled water you can throw at it. If efficiency and off-grid running matter most, the Gardena is a genuine little marvel, while the Kärcher is the one to pick when you want quiet, sealed-for-years reliability with finer particles. And if you just want a dependable, affordable backup for those occasional floods, the Deco and the Gouda both deliver fantastic value, with the Deco edging ahead on flow and the Gouda on lightweight convenience. Whichever one fits your situation, every link is down in the description to make it nice and easy. If this breakdown helped you out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you in the next video.